Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for staying with us. We have the very easy task of introducing to you the last panel of the day and the last panel of the conference. So I hope that you have some energy left for us. I think that this panel could not have come at a timelier moment. 2024, it's the year where investments in clean energy are almost double to the ones in fossil fuels. $3 trillion of investments in energy and almost $2 trillion going to clean energy investment and infrastructure. So what better time to talk about the financing mechanisms and bankability of hydrogen projects, one of the cleanest energy sources of the future. I am happy to be moderating a panel of prominent experts who will take us through this topic. I will be introducing my panelists, and I will ask you please to join me in welcoming them on stage. So first we have with us Janne RAJPAR, Country Director, Morocco at KfW Bank. She is a seasoned development banker with over 20 years of experience in investment operations and policy roles. Currently, she heads the KfW office in Morocco, overseeing climate-focused portfolio worth approximately 3.5 billion euros, with emphasis on renewable energy, energy efficiency, public transportation, and water management. Janne, please welcome on stage. Second, I'd like you please to join me in welcoming on stage Mrs. Meriem BENNANI, Country Head at UK Export Finance at the UK Export Credit Agency. And what you're going to see, what's interesting is that we have several sorts of financial mechanisms present with us in this panel. She manages an envelope of 4 billion GBP and supports projects across different sectors, focusing on sustainable development. Mrs. BENNANI also has an extensive experience of 18 years at CDG Capital, working in asset management, corporate finance, capital markets, and now focusing on export finance. We have a lot to learn from her. Please welcome on stage Mrs. BENNANI. We also have with us again from the Development Bank side, we have Mrs. DERANSART Anne-Marie, Head of Unit at the European Investment Bank. Mrs. DERANSART is an international finance development leader with 20 years experience at the European Investment Bank, where she has played key roles across West Africa, the Caribbean, Western Europe, and currently serves as Head of Unit for the Maghreb region. Thank you and welcome on stage. Last but not least, we have with us Béryl Bouteille, Deputy Country Director at l'Agence Française de Développement in Morocco. She has an extensive career of 15 years in finance, climate, sustainable development, that she first started in clean tech and sustainability. She has been appointed in 2029 head of the International Finance Development Club, and she is passionate, just as much as us, about energy transition and sustainable development. Béryl, please welcome on stage. So my mic is here. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining us in this panel. I am really eager to learn from you as much as our crowd, I hope. And I would like to start with you, Mrs. RAJPAR. I don't know if she's mic'd. Do you have your mic? Perfect. So, Janne, you have the pleasure of opening our panel. And I do have for you one question, but that entails two questions, in fact. So I'd like to know how the KfW actually addresses the complex interplay of financial, technological, and regulatory risks that are associated with Power-to-X projects, but also how, even though that the KfW and other development banks play a crucial role in de-risking investments, what are the limitations of these banks in financing green hydrogen projects in Morocco, but also with other examples? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the question, and also thank you very much for inviting me to this very interesting panel with one of the subject, of course, at it's the core of my heart, financing of projects, financing of green hydrogen projects. KfW's job is de-risking investments. I think we have heard yesterday, but also today in different panels, speeches, how green hydrogen projects, how complex they are, about the complexity with all the different infrastructure that comes with it. On top of it, we are at an early stage when it comes to the green hydrogen market. So basically, unlocking the potential of green hydrogen requires not only significant funding and significant investments, but it also requires unique and innovative financing solutions. Now, what have we done at KfW and with the German government to unlock or to ramp up the green hydrogen market and projects? We have pooled promotional and commercial financing together in an instrument called the P2X platform. What is unique about the P2X platform also for us at KfW Banking Group is that it takes all branches of KfW Banking Group together. So I'm talking here also about the KfW Development Bank, but also about our sisters, the IPEX and DEG Bank. And in this P2X platform, it is possible for us to have a big variety of different financing instruments. So, and these instruments can go along the whole value chain of green hydrogen projects. So it can go from upstream to downstream. We talk about financing of renewable energy projects. We're talking about financing storage, production of green hydrogen. We talk about accompanying infrastructure. We're talking about storage, the whole, everything. And I think many of these different projects have already been mentioned during the yesterday and today's summit. And since all the different banking branches are working together, we are able to do commercial financing, we do promotional financing, we can also do equity financing, project financing. We are working with grants, so basically all financing instruments which are there on the market, we can provide with this P2X platform. At one of the core elements of the P2X platform is the P2X Development Fund. It's a fund with the aim to close the financing gap of green hydrogen projects which are not yet bankable, but very close to being bankable in developing and emerging countries. As well as so basically what we can do is we can finance in emerging and developing countries, we can finance green hydrogen projects, also at the whole chain value. Another aspect which I find very important, and it has been mentioned at our panel before, that I find also very important, is that one of the objectives of the P2X Development Fund is the creation of local market. I think this is very important also when we talk about geopolitical questions, when we talk about just transition, and from our experience is one of the main criteria to come up or to reach sustainable foreign investment. This is one of the main objectives of the P2X Development Fund. Now, where are we with the P2X Development Fund? We have closed the first round of call for expression of interest. The first round was open to projects in 7 different countries. Morocco is one of the countries. I'm happy to say this. I will come to the reasons in a little bit. I know I don't have so much time, but I will come to the reasons in a little bit. Well, yesterday, the first grant agreement was signed in a project in Egypt. There are many more to come. The second round of call for expression of interest will be launched in 25. And I said, why Morocco? I think it's actually clear for everybody who's attending the P2X summit yesterday and who's working on green hydrogen projects in general. Morocco has excellent conditions, not only because of excellent conditions for renewable energy, but also excellent conditions when it comes to regulatory frameworks, when it comes to political will, when it comes to governance. Morocco has an outstanding position. One aspect I also would like to mention, which I think is is unique for KfW. We are able with our financing instruments not only to have promotional loans or commercial loans, we have also the possibility for investment grants. We can finance any study and research, which is definitely necessary, especially at such an early stage where the green hydrogen project and the green hydrogen sector is at the moment. I would also like to quickly touch on our bilateral portfolio we have with Morocco, despite the P2X Development Fund. We also have long-standing relationship with the Moroccan government. For decades now, we supported Morocco in its ambition targets for renewable energy. 4 years ago, or since 4 years ago, we have also substantial amount promotional loans for the development of P2X projects. And under the development fund, there will be further projects coming. Shall I also talk about limits? Where I see limits of bilateral banks when it comes to the green hydrogen sector, or I give the floor to...
Maybe very briefly in 1 or 2 sentences. Thank you.
Okay, I think many of the limits also have been mentioned, by the gentleman from SOHAS before. I mean, banks have only so much funds, or so many funds, yeah? I mean, funds are limited. We can also not take every risk. We can try to bridge financing gaps and also have a lot of de-risking instruments, but at the end of the day, the investment decision is a risk, and people need to take it. Also, government need to take the risk, and at the end of the day, it's also the question: how many projects are there which are scalable, which are brought to a certain stage where basically we can come in and continue or can support with our financing instruments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janne, for giving us a glance of inspiration with the different financing mechanisms and projects of KfW, but also giving us a glimpse of reality with the limitations. Now, to discover a new source of financing with you, Mrs. Bennani, for the almost unbankable hydrogen projects, if I'm quoting you, Janne, I'd like you to take us, please, through the solutions, the innovative financing mechanisms that are proposed by UK Export Finance. How are they developed? How are they supported to specifically reduce the risks and enhance the bankability of Power-to-X projects? Could you also enlighten us on how this new financing solution can increase the bankability, but also how does UK Export Finance leverage partnerships in order to enhance the support provided to Power-to-X projects in Morocco, but in general as well? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabrine, for your question. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this great panel amongst you ladies and well surrounded. So let me first share some thoughts about and background about UKEF. So UKEF, UK Export Finance, we are the UK Export Credit Agency. It's a UK government department in charge of supporting exports overseas, and to do so, we provide financing solutions either for the UK suppliers, but also, and mainly, this is my main role in Morocco, to provide financing solutions to overseas buyers. So we do have in Morocco an envelope of £5 billion dedicated to support projects cross sectors with a focus on renewable energy, and then I will deep dive on green hydrogen and why we are really keen to support projects in green hydrogen. So UKEF is interested in green hydrogen because it's compliant with our fossil fuel policy, and we know that it's the only route for global large off-taker to greenify their process, either the steel industry, plastic, the cement, the fertilizers industry as well. We know also, and that's important, that UK has relevant and significant UK content to provide within the supply chain. There were here these 2 days some UK suppliers, and UK supply chain includes electrolyzers, compressors, pipes, pumps, offtake jetties, but also in initial stages, the pre-feed surveys, feed surveys, and legal fees. So we are confident about the availability of enough UK content to make PTX projects eligible for our supports. Then third point, we have already supported many related projects to green hydrogen. We have not closed yet any green hydrogen projects, but we are looking to a couple, but we have already financed onshore wind, offshore wind, solar, storage, and many related projects to green hydrogen. So we do have a strong expertise in terms of due diligence of this kind of project. And last but not least, we do have a strong risk appetite in Morocco, as I mentioned, the £5 billion envelope. So then main risk we would look at when it comes to green hydrogen projects, first, it would be the offtake, because we consider green hydrogen project as project finance, so we would never require a sovereign guarantee, but we would look at the quality of the offtake. Then the second risk would be the technology risk. So as highlighted during these 2 days, it's quite a new technology. So we have experts in charge of the due diligence of the technology risk, but we do have a strong expertise in the links of the value chain of green hydrogen. So that's it regarding the risk we would look at. Then maybe some comments on why Morocco. And you, Janne, you mentioned how exciting Morocco is. So for us, for UK Export Finance, we are excited about Morocco as a destination because its electricity is cheap. Morocco has developed a structured and clear offer, the Offre Maroc, and with a centralized support, which is very important. And then, last but not least, proximity to main off-taker, as Morocco is close to Europe. So we are really looking forward to seeing UKEF support being concrete in a couple of projects and looking at a couple of ones, either in Morocco but also in other countries. Then now maybe coming to your second question, the partnerships we are developing. So being a UK government department, we work closely with the Department for Business and Trade, with the Treasury, the UK Treasury, but also with other UK government departments. We also collaborate with over 70 private lenders, mainly commercial banks and credit insurers. So our main products being what we call the buyer credit, which is a UK government guarantee we provide to the bank financing the transaction. So we work with over 70 international banks and credit insurers. We work as an ECA, as an export credit agency. We work with many partnering export credit agencies, including BPI France, the German Euler Hermes, the Spanish, all the ECAs. And last but not least, we are developing a relationship with the DFIs. For example, we were discussing with you, Jan, before coming here. We provided UK export finance guarantee to a project which was lended by KfW IPEX Bank. We also worked recently on a project in Serbia with MIGA, World Bank Group, where we provided both of us the guarantee, and the lending bank was JP Morgan. So these are just some examples to give you an idea about several partnerships we can develop to make the PTX project bankable here in Morocco. Conscious of time, I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Meriem. Not only an idea, but you have given us a very clear idea. And I really like how you mentioned the risk aversion and risk appetite, because they are the main hurdles when it comes to financing renewable energy projects in general, let alone with the uncertainty that some might have around PTX projects. Now, I will move to you, Anne-Marie. Since you are my third speaker, your question has 3 layers. Please, dear guests, note that Anne-Marie will answer in French. I will do my best to translate the key elements into English. So, Anne-Marie, my questions would be, first, could you provide us with examples of PTX projects that the European Investment Bank has successfully funded, particularly those who overcome risks that are related to market conditions or regulatory uncertainties? Second, the lesson that you learned, but also the policy adjustments that you would recommend to be made to increase the bankability of green hydrogen projects. And finally, again, the role of public-private partnerships, as I'm sure you would have much elements to tell us about how they can enhance the attractiveness of these projects in the eyes of investors. Thank you very much, Anne-Marie.
Merci. On a déjà apporté un peu de diversité, effectivement, dans ce panel. Je pense que la diversité linguistique, c'est bien aussi. Donc, permettez-moi de m'exprimer en français. Dans un premier temps, la BEI, la Banque européenne d'investissement, juste pour vous représenter l'institution, c'est la Banque du climat de l'Union européenne. Nos actionnaires sont les 27 pays membres de l'Union européenne. On a une activité aussi bien dans l'Union qu'en dehors, donc on finance à peu près 70 milliards d'euros de prêts tous les ans, dont 10 milliards, pardon, ça vole, 10 milliards hors de l'Union européenne, pour vous donner une idée des volumes. Donc depuis 10 ans, depuis que la banque la Banque du climat de l'UE, on a financé 1,4 milliard d'euros pour des projets hydrogène, donc dans le monde entier, enfin principalement en Europe, ce qui a contribué à plus de 2 milliards d'euros d'investissement dans le secteur, principalement pour 3 types de projets. Donc, dans un premier temps, le développement de technologies. On a financé la recherche, le développement d'électrolyseurs, de systèmes de recharge, infrastructures de stockage, notamment sur des projets en Allemagne et assez récemment, d'ailleurs en 2023, sur ce type de projet. On a financé également des projets consommateurs d'hydrogène. Donc à ce moment-là, les projets qui ensuite développent des flottes de bus, de véhicules lourds ou de trains à hydrogène. Notamment au Danemark, récemment, on a octroyé une garantie pour un projet de développement de flottes de bus. Et on lance aussi régulièrement des initiatives sous le chapeau Team Europe. Donc on s'accorde avec les autres bailleurs de fonds européens pour pouvoir apporter des solutions de financement et des subventions ensemble sur des projets communs. D'autres exemples, pour vous donner une idée, on a financé aussi en Espagne une usine photovoltaïque avec un électrolyseur et de développement de batteries. En France également, un grand projet de développement de corridors hydrogène où vraiment on a aidé au financement de toute la filière, donc de la production jusqu'au distributeur final. Et en Afrique, plus particulièrement, on participe au financement d'une étude qui permet de déterminer les besoins de financement pour pouvoir développer une chaîne de valeur de production d'hydrogène vert d'ici à 2035. Donc on est actif beaucoup en Europe et on développe de plus en plus l'activité en dehors de l'Union européenne en bénéficiant de tout ce qu'on a appris en développant les projets européens. Et on s'attache vraiment à intervenir au niveau de toute la chaîne de valeur, donc que ce soit au niveau de la recherche, de la production, transport, distribution, etc. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'on a appris de toute cette expérience ? Premièrement, qu'il est très intéressant de développer des projets en blending. Il est très important même de développer des projets en blending, c'est-à-dire d'apporter des solutions de financement prêts et subventions, de façon à pouvoir faire baisser en fait le coût des financements. Il est aussi absolument nécessaire que toutes les parties soient partie prenante dans le développement des projets, donc aussi bien la partie publique au niveau des gouvernements que les investisseurs privés, les partenaires industriels et les bailleurs de fonds. Donc il faut vraiment qu'il y ait une cohésion au niveau de tous les acteurs. Et puis au niveau de l'échelle des projets, il faut que ce soit des projets à relativement grande échelle. Il faut qu'on dépasse les premiers modèles et qu'on développe vraiment des projets qui soient viables à une échelle industrielle. Donc tout ceci, ça demande d'avoir aussi des ajustements au niveau de la réglementation. On peut pas faire sans. On a besoin de cadres réglementaires qui soient clairs. Donc particulièrement ici au Maroc, on apprécie d'avoir l'offre Maroc qui soit mise en place. Et donc, comme je l'ai dit, comme je viens de le dire, on a besoin aussi de beaucoup de subventions dans un premier temps pour pouvoir rendre les projets bancables. Un autre aspect important, c'est de pouvoir avoir des accords d'off-take qui soient aussi déterminés pendant le développement des projets, de façon à pouvoir permettre une visibilité sur les revenus des projets et donc baisser le risque au niveau des revenus. Et enfin, développer évidemment toujours les partenariats publics-privés de façon à pouvoir partager les responsabilités et bénéficier des compétences de chacun. Donc en termes de financement innovant, le produit de base de la BEI est peut-être pas si innovant que ça, vous me direz. C'est le prêt à long terme. Pourtant, il peut le devenir à partir du moment où il va être mélangé avec des subventions, mais à partir du moment aussi où l'offre financière est plus élaborée qu'un simple tableau de remboursement linéaire sur 20 ans. Donc la BEI offre la possibilité en fait d'avoir une ingénierie financière presque lorsqu'il s'agit de rembourser la dette avec des échéances sculptées, avec des taux d'intérêt qui peuvent être convertis, avec beaucoup d'instruments au niveau de l'ingénierie financière qui permet justement de pouvoir rendre les financements moins chers et plus attractifs. On participe bien sûr, on intervient aussi dans le cadre de Project Finance en finançant directement les porteurs de projets. On finance aussi les entreprises en financement corporate. Donc quand il s'agit de financer un PPP, on peut intervenir aussi bien en public qu'en private finance. Un autre instrument intéressant et important qui a été développé ces dernières années par la BEI, notamment en Europe, c'est la prise de participation via des green bonds. Donc on est souscripteur nous-mêmes à des green bonds. On le fait maintenant de plus en plus en Europe et c'est quelque chose qu'on peut développer sur le continent africain notamment. Le quatrième outil, c'est tout ce qui concerne le partage de risques. Et ça, enfin, les autres bailleurs le font aussi. Évidemment, l'octroi de garanties qui permettent aussi de pouvoir faciliter le financement des projets. Donc on travaille aussi bien avec la Commission européenne qu'avec les banques publiques. Et puis enfin, la participation en equity, bien sûr, elle est importante, le plus souvent via des fonds. Ça nous permet de pouvoir aussi descendre sur des projets plus granulaires, plus petits. Et on a des participations dans beaucoup de fonds en Afrique qui nous permettent de pouvoir financer les projets de cette façon-là. Donc, en conclusion, je dirais qu'on a beaucoup d'outils. Et il faut les utiliser, il faut s'appuyer dessus. Pour chaque projet qu'on nous présente, en fait, on va travailler une solution de financement qui sera différente et personnalisée et qui répondra aux besoins du projet et voilà, enfin, à ses besoins particuliers. Donc on est vraiment, on peut offrir une palette qui permette de répondre aux besoins de financement de chaque projet.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. Very quickly, I'll try to translate a few key ideas. So you told us that European Investment Bank is the climate bank of the EU with activities inside and outside of the EU. Major projects with one in green hydrogen in Morocco. The funds are going for research and development, consuming projects for H2 trains or buses with hydrogen, but also initiatives with teams in Europe for financing projects and subsidies, and a study in Africa for the needs of the value chain of green hydrogen in terms of financing. In terms of the lessons you shared with us, it's the solutions that can be in forms of loans, but also subsidies. We need to subsidize a lot. We need to have several partnerships with the industry. Projects must be scaled up as a big scale and to develop industrially to viable projects. We need strong regulation, and the Moroccan offer is giving us such a strong regulation to look up to. We need public partnerships to share responsibility when it comes to financing, innovative financing mechanisms that are used by the bank, such as convertible interest rates, financial engineering that can give us this opportunity, project finance, green bonds, but also risk sharing. I hope that I did not mess up something. Thank you very much. So last but not least, I will go to you, Berry. Thank you very much for being our last speaker in this panel. So in my question, I will start first with an example that is present with us at the Power to X edition of this year. So building on the AFD's recent partnership with IRESEN and SATT Paris-Saclay focusing on decarbonized hydrogen in Morocco, how does the EFD assess the potential impacts of this collaboration on the hydrogen sector locally? But also, can you take us on a broader picture on how critical is the role of collaboration between international development agencies and local governments in setting up successful green hydrogen projects, and examples where you can see this as a successful measure, such as the one I mentioned before? Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes? Thank you for your questions, and first thank you for the invitation and the organization of this event. Let me start by shortly present the AFD group, because it will inform your question actually. So the AFD group is composed of 3 entities: the French Development Agency, which is really dedicated to the financing of public sector, NGOs, research training. We have also Proparco, our subsidiary dedicated to the private sector, and Expertise France, which is dedicated to expertise, technical expertise. And the group really aims at supporting and accelerating transitions, including energy transition. And in Morocco, the AFD group supports this energy transition. Actually, decarbonizing the economy is one of our 4 strategic objectives in the country. And we have been supporting the long-term strategy, the definition of the long-term strategy of Morocco. And as you may know, the net zero scenario carried out by Morocco relies on green hydrogen technology to decarbonize the economy. However, we know that to grow, green hydrogen still faces some obstacles. such as high cost of production, transportation, the water use, and the significant need of electricity production. That's why the call that we actually launched today, together with our partner IRESEN and SAT Paris-Saclay, really aim at promoting research and development projects in decarbonized hydrogen, and really aims at contributing to the co-development between French and Moroccan players of innovative, emerging, but also marketable technologies. To give you a bit of details on this call for projects, it will support for 3 years 2 to 3 projects positioned on the value chain of hydrogen. The objectives, are to really encourage research and development, to establish a dynamic of innovation and development in the field of decarbonized hydrogen, and to really support the emergence of this technology locally, but also at the end globally. The selection of projects will be done in 2 stages. The first stage starts today till mid-December, when we will pre-select a group of projects, and then the final selection will be done in March 2025. And through the call for projects, we are really convinced that we could accelerate the adoption of this technology, both locally but also in the region and more broadly. This is to answer your first question on the call for projects together with IRESEN and SAT Paris-Saclay. And maybe to give you and to answer your second question on how to support green hydrogen projects, we have several approaches at the AFD group, depending on the needs of our clients and partners, and depending on the level of maturity in the country regarding this technology. First, we can support the development of national strategies, including developing a green hydrogen roadmap, which involves actually evaluating the whole hydrogen value chain, making preliminary estimates of local green hydrogen production, but also assessing the renewable energy potential. We could also supporting the sector structuring. In most regions, including Europe, actually, the regulatory framework needs to be upgraded and to consider the specificities of hydrogen. The entire value chain of hydrogen, from production to transport to storage, must be assessed, and we really have to map the roles, responsibilities, and applicable regulation and technical standards. As part of our support to national strategies, we can also support local stakeholders through capacity building, through training, site visits, and actually is what we are currently doing in Egypt. We do have a technical assistance program of 2 components. One is a short-term capacity building to support the National Committee on hydrogen, and a second medium-term technical assistance to really engage all local stakeholders through site visits, exchange with French industries, training. A second modality I would like to emphasize is the support for project developments. We can finance pre-feasibility and feasibility studies for hydrogen projects. These studies can cover, again, the entire value chain, production, storage, transport, utilization. And the final objective is to characterize or to identify pilot projects and assess their feasibility to then finance more finance large-scale projects. And this is our final way of financing. It's to support both corporate and project financing in the green hydrogen sector. So we can finance large-scale projects most of the time in co-financing, given the significant capital expenditure needs. We can also seek for grants to reduce the cost of these projects and improve the overall project economics. And last but not least, we will, of course, look, and it has already been pointed out by the other panelists, we will also look at the long-term PPA necessary to cover the debt services, especially in a project finance scheme. That's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Meriem, for taking us through the specificities of this partnership, but also the role of overall partnerships in this domain. So I was initially going to give you 30 seconds per question, but I was told that we have time and we can move it to 1 minute per answer. So I'd like you all, each one of you, to take me through 2 to 3 key recommendations for investors, for policymakers, but really the key recommendations that you see in terms of scaling up Power-to-X projects in the upcoming years. I will follow the same order and start with you, Janne.
Thank you very much. What I think is important is from the banks of financing, financiers' point of view, is we need to have flexible instruments. It needs to be all along the chain value of green hydrogen projects, including off-taker, including accompanying infrastructure. I also think it is important to join forces. At the end of the day, the necessary investment to ramp up green hydrogen market, there are huge investments needed. So I think really it is necessary. Banks need to join forces, but also government needs to join forces. And I mean, I think here at the P2X Summit, it's actually a great place to discuss and also to realize what's actually really going on the ground. Where are the problems? Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think Morocco is at an excellent position to have a leading role to ramp up green hydrogen.
Thank you very much, Janne. Flexibility, joining forces, and Morocco is indeed a great example. I'll move to you, Meriem, please, with 2 to 3 examples as well.
Yes, so I would really echo what you mentioned, Janne, regarding joining forces. When we see the amounts of investments that needs to be pursued, they are really large and huge amounts. So our conviction is that there is enough space for everyone. So international financing institutions and financiers in general should join their forces. And I would say also for the developers, the EPCs, the investors, initiate discussions with the financing ecosystem at early stage, because each one of us has its own criteria, its own constraints. So it's good to initiate the discussion at early stage, and then all of us would be happy to facilitate the discussion, either, for example, for the case of UK Export Finance, with the UK supply chain, but also with other financing partners.
Thank you very much. There is enough space for everyone, and the more the merrier. Moving to you, Anne-Marie, please, 3 recommandations à 2, comme vous préférez.
Oui, moi j'insisterai dans un premier temps sur la régulation. On a besoin d'avoir un cadre réglementaire qui soit solide. Ensuite, il faut s'appuyer sur tous les instruments qui existent. Il y en a beaucoup et on peut vraiment monter des solutions de financement qui soient personnalisées. Et le troisième point, je me joins à ce que viennent de dire mes collègues. Je crois qu'il faut qu'on avance ensemble. Il y a de gros besoins de financement, les ressources ne sont pas illimitées et pour autant, les institutions ont toutes beaucoup de capacités. Donc il ne faut pas hésiter non plus à nous faire avancer ensemble de façon à pouvoir apporter des solutions de financement qui soient communes.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. Regulatory frameworks, personalized financing solutions, but also moving together. Beryl, last but not least, your 3 elements, please.
Thank you. I will give you 3 recommendations at 3 levels, actually. At first, at project level, as I said, securing long-term offtake agreements remain critical. And public development bank can provide support and incentives to make the project economics viable in a short and medium term. So this is a first recommendation. Second, at national level, and actually I will emphasize on this, is really to ensure that green hydrogen fits with the decarbonization pathway and is aligned with the Paris Agreement objective. Because we know that green hydrogen requires a lot of electricity production, a lot of water use, and it's really important that it doesn't prevent the pathway towards Paris alignment and yes, our objective to a net zero scenario by 2050. And lastly, we must think at a regional level, not only at local, national, but also at regional level, and evaluate and assess the demand of hydrogen in the region, in Morocco, in North Africa, and in Europe, to really shape in a very coherent way its development.
Thank you very much for these key insights, Beryl. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the ladies. You have learned about the financing mechanisms and bankability of hydrogen projects. I hope that we can keep this momentum from this summit to move together as it was unanimously recommended. Thank you very much for following us for this panel. Please stay with us on stage for the closing remarks. And I think that we can move for a final panel picture now. Give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you all so much for a very interesting conversation. Yes, we kindly invite you to step forward to take a photo as a memory of this final session. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to move to the official closing session. It is time to invite your colleagues, anyone who's close, to not miss this much awaited moment. Thank you so much, ladies, for your insights. We appreciate your expertise. Let's give them again a round of applause. Thank you all so much.